The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Today's lesson includes 7 characters, 6 of which are related to the pictogram for flesh or meat. We'll begin with the basic one, presumably showing a piece of meat. This character has a full standalone form and 2 variations when it appears as part of another character. It's pronounced 4th tone, rou, rou, with that retroflex R sound that we've seen in previous lessons. The standalone version looks somewhat like what we might see in a butcher's shop, a suspended animal carcass with its ribs exposed. The other 2 variants are simpler in form, one having 2 horizontal lines and the other having a downstroke plus upstroke. Both variants are found in traditional Chinese calligraphy. The only real difference today is that the 2 flat lines version is the usual way this element is taught in China, whereas the downstroke upstroke variant is the current standard in Taiwan. With this new character, we can make 2 easy phrases. 10 ounces of meat, 10两肉, and a steam bun filled with meat instead of vegetables, 肉包子. When learning Chinese, keep in mind that the earliest ideograms, the auricle bone drawings, were created for the purpose of divination and religious rituals. Animal sacrifice was a natural part of these rituals. And, once the ceremonies were over, the flesh of these animals was distributed to the noble class as food. Anyone given 2 portions of meat was fortunate indeed, having received more than the others. This brings us to the next character, which depicts this exact scenario. 2 portions of meat, which means much, many, or a greater amount of anything. It's pronounced 1st tone, 多, 多. It can be used as a question word, such as 多大, how large is it? And 多久, how long, referring to time. Using the affirmative plus negative, we can make the question 多不多? Is there, are there, were there a lot? Remember, again, that Chinese verbs don't have tense. The answer to 人多不多 could be 人不多, meaning that there weren't many people there. In answer to the question 蛇多不多, one could say 蛇好多, or even 好多蛇. 多 can also be used to talk about one's health. 他好多了. He's feeling or doing much better. Just a striking resemblance between the character for rising moon, 西, in lesson 15, and this double meat character, 多. You're absolutely right. The writing strokes are identical, but one means the rising moon and the other a double portion of meat. And since we're talking about this resemblance, let's look at the usual character for the risen moon. Notice that, even in the ancient pictograms, the 2 characters, moon and flesh, are nearly identical. So, here is the character for moon, or month. Pronounced 4th tone, 月, 月. Now we can understand why Taiwan makes a distinction between these radicals for educational purposes. One having 2 flat lines inside, 月, the moon, and the other having a downstroke and upstroke. 肉, meat or flesh. In practice, the distinction is unimportant, as long as you know the meaning of the character. From an etymological and teaching standpoint, however, it makes a huge difference. With our new moon or month character, we can now make a few dates. January 2nd, 1月2日, and October 1st, 10月1日, China's national holiday. The months are simply numbered 1 to 12 in Chinese, and the days 1 to 31. Remember to use 2月 for February, not 两, and notice that number 1, 1, always keeps first tone when saying the date. Our next character is one we saw earlier in Lesson 17, originally meaning a woman's waist, pronounced first tone, 腰, which was later extended to mean to intercept someone at a narrow mountain pass, pronounced fourth tone, 腰. Well, the same pictogram, having various meanings, apparently became a problem, so the character for a person's midsection, or waist, was differentiated by adding the flesh component to the original. So, this is the proper character for waist today, pronounced first tone, 腰, 腰. With this character, we can make the noun expression for a purse or a wallet, 腰包, originally referring to the leather coin pouch attached to one's belt in ancient times. This phrase can also be used to refer to one's finances in general, which might take a hit if you go through with a major purchase. Now, let's review a character from Lesson 2, 右, meaning one's right hand. In combination with the meat radical in today's lesson, we have an extremely useful character meaning to have. Pronounced third tone, 有, 有. In ancient times, there were far fewer characters than those in use today, and some had to serve multiple purposes. The character for right hand, 右, is an example. 右 also meant to have or possess something, literally, to have it in your hand. Later, to differentiate the meanings, this new phonosemantic character, third tone, 有, was created, a hunk of meat in the hand, with the hand component serving as the meaning and the phonetic. So far, we've seen many variations of the hand radical, so I'll review them quickly. The right hand, 右. The hand radical in pai. The hand meaning to measure, 寸. The hand in book, 书. The abridged right hand in today's character, 有, and the double hand found in 腰. It's important to recognize these elements when learning the language. You may have noticed that the meat component in 有 has two horizontal strokes inside, both in China and in Taiwan. That means that the Ministry of Education in Taiwan does not consider this to be the meat or flesh radical, instead taking it to be the moon radical. Like I said, this character means to have, and is also a very useful translation of English there plus be verb. There is, there are, there was, there were, etc., used to express the existence or location of something. For example, 地上有水. There's water on the floor. Or, on the ground. 地 can mean either. Note that 上 is usually unstressed after a word indicating location. We mentioned 出名 to become famous in Lesson 15, and now we have 有名 to already be famous or well known. 有一天 means one day I did something in the past, or someday I will do something in the future. A more literal translation would be, there was, one day. The verb 有 has one little quirk. Its negative takes 没, not 不. So a common question asking, is there any, or are there any, would be 有没有? There's no difference between singular and plural, countable or non-countable in Chinese, so add any noun you want after that. 有没有人? 有没有水? With verbs, 没有 usually refers to actions in the past. 没 is actually an abbreviation of 没有. So wherever you find 没, you can always complete the phrase by adding 有. An example of completed past action would be this sentence. 他没有看重他. She didn't value or make use of his skills. In other words, she didn't appreciate his talent, relegating him to an unimportant position in the company. Another useful combination is 有的, meaning some. For example, 有的人要, 有的不要. Some people want it, some don't. Or some people want to, plus a verb, some people don't want to. Sometimes the 的 can be dropped. 有人去了, 有人没去. Some people went, some didn't. Another useful expression is 有的是, meaning there's plenty of something. For example, 在她家有的是书. There are plenty of books in her house. Or you can put the noun first. 在本地山有的是. This area has a lot of mountains. Our next character was originally a primitive drawing of a bear with sharp teeth and claws. Pronounced second tone, 能, 能. The flesh radical here includes the body, jaws, and teeth of the animal. Why introduce such a seemingly unnecessary word for a bear? Because this character is no longer used for the animal itself, but is now used metaphorically to indicate power, strength, competence, energy. For example, 才能, a person's talent, abilities, or a particular gift that he or she possesses. Another useful expression would be 本能, instinct, literally, fundamental urge or original energy. Even more common is the use of 能 as an auxiliary verb to express can or be able to. Here's a possible question. 她能不能去? Is she able to go? We can now use two other phrases in today's lessons to create this sentence. 有人回家了，有的不能走. Some people went home, some couldn't leave. Another way to say must or have to in Mandarin is the double negative 不能不, literally, cannot not. 他的书不能不看，太好看了. You really must read his book, it's so good. Our final character for today is composed of the ideogram for north that we saw in lesson 9, plus the flesh radical. It's pronounced either fourth tone, 背, 背, or first tone, 背, 背. The ideogram for north is the phonetic here, but the tones are different. The fourth tone, 背, can be either a noun or a verb. It started out as a person's back, or the reverse side of anything, and later expanded to include the action of turning one's back on, going against something. An example of reverse side is 手背, the back of your hand, the same expression as in English. An example of turning your back on is 背书, literally to turn your back toward your book and recite its contents. A perfect description of rote memorization. Signing one's name on the back of a check means to endorse it, also called 背书. And of course, you can also endorse 背书, a policy or plan. When pronounced first tone, 背, this character means to carry on one's back, to bear or shoulder responsibility. 背包, therefore, would be the Chinese expression for a knapsack, backpack, or rucksack. Here is our color chart with today's 7 characters. 肉, 多, 有, 能, 腰, 肉, and 月. So, what's the takeaway from today's lesson? 1. The character for flesh or meat has one full standalone form and 2 variants used as radicals. The downstroke plus upstroke variant is an attempt to differentiate this radical from the moon radical. 2. The earliest Chinese characters were created primarily for use in divination and religious rituals, of which animal sacrifice was an important part. Once killed, the animals were divided up among the participants. Receiving 2 portions, more than others, is the origin for the character for much or many. 多. 3. 多 can be used to make simple questions such as 多久, 多大, 多重, to translate how long will it be, how big is it, and how heavy is it. 4. The examples 人不多 and 蛇好多 illustrate once again the common Chinese sentence structure consisting of a topic plus a comment. 5. By combining the character for right hand, 右, with the meat radical, we obtain the most important character for showing possession. 他有2本书. He has 2 books. Existence. 地上有水. There's water on the floor. And past action. 他没有去看她. He didn't go see her. 6. 有的 means some, as in some people went, some didn't. 有的人去了, 有的没去. 7. The expression 有的是 means there's plenty of something, with the noun either before or after. For example, if a guy is worried about not finding enough girls to dance with at a party, I could answer him, 女生有的是. Or, 有的是女生. There'll be lots of girls there. 8. The original character for a bear is now the verb or noun indicating power, strength, competence, or energy. Second tone, 能. The modern character for the animal itself will be in a future lesson. 9. As an auxiliary verb, 能 is particularly useful, meaning can or be able to. Is she able to go? Would translate as 她能不能去? 10. To emphasize that one has no choice but to do something, the phrase 不能不 would work. 他不能不去. He really must go. 11. Now that we've got the flesh radical, we can add the modern character for a person's waist, 腰. A flesh radical was added to distinguish it from its original form that we saw in lesson 17, meaning important, or to want something. 12. Also, by combining the character for north with the flesh radical, we have a new verb and a new noun. 背, first tone, means to carry on one's back or shoulders. So, 背包 is the way to say knapsack. 背, fourth tone, as a noun means to the reverse side of anything, as in 手背, the back of the hand. As a verb, it means to turn your back on or go against something. 背书 could either mean to recite a lesson from memory or possibly to endorse a check or a plan. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.